Pracharya Nirvasesha Sunyavadi Pasyachari Shatari Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachari Nirvasesha Sunyavadi Pasyachari Shatari Jaya Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Shri Lord Nityananda Ram ki, Shri Raghunatha das Goswami Chirdoi Mahaprabhu ki. Oh, go Premanandi, all gloriously assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. Hare Bo. Hare Krishna. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening for this evening to remember Lord Nityananda. This evening we're hoping we're going to immerse ourselves in the unlimited ocean of mercy, that ocean of compassion personified by Srimati Radharani and made available by Lord Nityananda. So this evening we hope to be able to together to share this opportunity, and we're going to ask our host, Nityananda Prabhu, if he could kindly put on the selected song for this evening, which we'll sing. Because the topic tonight is a little different. We're going away from her thread in the Bhagavatam. And this evening, because today is a special day of Raghunatha das Goswami's Chirodoya Mahamahotsav Festival, which takes place annually in Panihati in Bengal, the place where this festival took place 500 years or whatever ago. So we're going to sing a song by Narottam Das Thakur, glorifying Lord Nityananda. Maybe it's on the screen, I don't know. Yes, there it is. Hare Krishna. So please sing along with us. Lord Nityananda is most merciful. Nitai Pada Kamala, Koti Chandra Shushita, Nitai Pada Kamala, Koti Chandra Shushita, Ye Chayai Jagata Jurai, Ye Chayai Jagata Jurai, Enoniti Bine Pai, Radha Krishna Caitanya Nitai Pada Radha Krishna Caitanya Vidhakari Dhara Vidhakari Dhara Se sambandha nahi Ita jama keleo Se pasho ora dura Se sambandha nahi Ita jama gelo se pashu oro doracha Nitai na bolile mukhe Majilo samsara sukhe Nitai na bolilo mukhe Majilo samsara sukhe Vidya kule ki koribe Vidya kule ki koribe Ahankare mata hoya Nitai pada pasaya Ahankare mata hoya Nitai pada pasaya Asatyere Satya koi mamani Asatyare Satya koi mamani Nitayera Karuna Habe Raje Radha Krishna Pave Nitaya Karuna Raje Radha Krishna Pave Dara Nitai Janananda Dukani Nitai Charana Satya Tahara Sevaka Nitya Nitai Charana Satya Tahara Sevaka Nitya Nitai Pada Sadako Nitai Pada Narottama Barodukhi Nitai More Koro Sukhi Narottama Barodukhi Nitai More Koro Sukhi Rakaranga Charanera Asha Rakaranga Charanera Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Gauranga Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Solo. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Nityananda Ram ki, Shri Prabhupada ki, Go Premanandi. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutle Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane. Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvasesha Sunyavadi Pasachare Shatai. Om Jnana Timrandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshura Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupagadhamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Pada Kamala Shri Guru Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Savetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabando Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostite Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Vanamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyasya Vipa Sindhu Vyevicha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Hari Hari Bo Hare Krishna. Well, we just briefly sang this song, glorifying Lord Nityananda and evoking his mercy. I'll just read a little bit of the Prabhupada's purport, just one paragraph. So Srila Prabhupada writes a purport to this song. Our whole movement is a purport to this song because our whole movement is to evoke Lord Nityananda's mercy. I was reading today a beautiful commentary on this pastime of getting Lord Nityananda's mercy. And the bottom line was that without the mercy of Lord Nityananda, of course, we cannot get Radha Krishna, love of Radha Krishna, Krishna Prema, not available without his mercy. But the mercy of Lord Nityananda, we have to go to Lord Nityananda for that mercy. But in the commentary, I think it was Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj, he was saying that means to go to Lord Nityananda means to go to the Jagais and Madhais of this world. That's what it means. It means to take the Sankirtan movement to everybody, everywhere. The most fallen. We're all in that category of the most fallen. And this is how we approach Lord Nityananda, by going to the Jagais and Madhais and begging them to please take this mercy. Take Krishna. Even if they don't take it, Lord Nityananda will shower his mercy. Lord Nityananda was personally going to the Jagais and Madhais of the world. Jagais and Madhais mean those persons who are fully engrossed in the most sinful, materialistic lifestyles. So those are the persons who will find Lord Nityananda's mercy available. And by trying to spread this mission, that was Lord Nityananda. We'll hear about that a little more later on. But we'll just finish this little commentary. Srila Prabhupada says, what will be the result of accepting the shelter of the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda? What will be the result? He says, Hey no Nitai Bine Bai. Unless one takes shelter under the shade of the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda, Radha Krishna Paite Nai, it would be very difficult for him to approach Radha and Krishna. They're not statues. They're the origin of everything, the origin of personality, of all qualities. So they're not obligated, so to speak, to reciprocate to our mechanical endeavors. It is entirely by mercy that we can develop our love for Krishna. And that mercy is manifest as Lord Nityananda Prabhu. It is said in this age of Kali, there is no qualification for God consciousness, only mercy. No one is eligible. Everyone is enwrapped in offensive, sinful mentality and lifestyle, with no genuine sincerity for spiritual life, practically speaking. So Lord Nityananda has come to us to shower this mercy, causeless mercy on all living entities. And by his mercy, all of our material iniquities will be smashed. By taking shelter, as we are intoxicated in this material world with our own false ego,
manifesting in the form of all kinds of pride in various things, attachment to various ways of doing it, different enjoyments of this world, seeing ourselves in the center, and trying to just sometimes to try to gain some attention, trying to fulfill our own ways of seeing the world, etc. We're all intoxicated like this in this world. But by the mercy of Nityananda, who is transcendental intoxication personified, he's completely maddened in love of God, completely maddened. And he wants to make us madmen too. So we will then become free of the intoxication of our materialistic conditioned lives. Prabhupada goes on, the aim of this Krishna consciousness movement, the aim, the goal, is Prabhupada writes that all the problems and stress, anxiety of this world is because we forget the goal. It's due to want of an ultimate goal that we suffer in this world. But when we know the ultimate goal, to go back to Godhead, all problems fade away if we can keep that focus in mind. Our goal is to awaken Krishna prema, love, Radha and Krishna. Of course, not everyone's in that mood, we could say, but let's say prema, love of Godhead, in whatever form he may take. That is the goal of this movement. The Prabhupada goes on, the aim of this movement is to enable us to approach Radha and Krishna and associate with the Supreme Lord in his supreme pleasure dance. As we're dancing in this world, trying to enjoy in various ways, it's a reflection of the transcendental spiritual dance between Radha and Krishna and their associates. Narottam Das Thakur advises that if one actually wants to enter into the dancing party of Radha and Krishna, he must accept the shelter of the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda. So this is our mission tonight, and to try to accept the lotus feet, the shelter of the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda, who appears along in this world with Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu for the simple reason of spreading Sankirtan movement and tasting Krishna prema by the performance of Sankirtan. It's said that through Lord Nityananda, Lord Chaitanya preaches Krishna consciousness. So now we're going to go to the first Adi Lila of the Caitanya Caritamrta. Please try to listen. By hearing these words of Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, translated by Srila Prabhupada, this will purify our hearts and evoke the mercy of Lord Nityananda. This is the Adi Lila, chapter 5, text 207 onwards. I'm only going to read the English because of our time span. Who in this world but Nityananda could show his mercy to such an abominable person as me? To really, let's say, absorb that mercy. The mercy is given to all. Lord Nityananda is trying to push it into us. But there has to be some humility there to absorb it. For that mercy to flourish, there has to be on our part humility, willingness to accept the mercy. We have a wonderful pastime in the Krishna Lila of when Krishna was a young boy and when he was dancing on the hoods of the Kaliya serpent. Kaliya serpent was very envious and very angry by nature. But eventually he was humbled when all of his pride was crushed by the lotus feet of the Lord, dancing on his hoods. And he surrendered to Krishna and thus became a recipient of the Lord's mercy, causeless mercy. Similarly, if we take shelter of those lotus feet of Lord Nityananda, all of our pride and inebriety and material attachments can be dissipated by the mercy of Lord Nityananda, taking shelter of his lotus feet. So the little humility to see ourselves, sometimes we don't necessarily think like that, but to see ourselves as Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, eternal associate of the Lord, a writer of Caitanya Caritamrta, is considering himself an abominable person, the most fallen of creatures, and only Lord Nityananda, mercy, is his only hope. Because Lord Nityananda is intoxicated by ecstatic love, and he is an incarnation of mercy. Krishna has unlimited qualities, and Lord Nityananda is a personification of mercy to others, kindness to others, compassion, magnanimity, equality to all. It's said that one who is intoxicated, even in this world, if we get literally intoxicated with some liquor or whatever it is, we lose our powers of discrimination. We can't tell from one thing to the other. We just become, the intelligence is basically lost by intoxications. Similarly, when one becomes maddened in ecstatic love of God, one is also somewhat like an intoxicated person. And just like Lord Nityananda was intoxicated in love of Godhead, and therefore he did not discriminate. He gave Krishna consciousness to anyone and everyone. Everything that came in his wake was saturated by mercy emanating from Lord Nityananda. He said by, the pearl-like tears emanating from the eyes of Lord Nityananda when he would cry, dancing and crying in loving compassion, ecstatic loving compassion, would remove all of the anarthas, the dirty things from everyone's hearts. He was crying in ecstatic love of God to bring us all back to Godhead, bring us all back to the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna. He does not distinguish between the good and the bad. He delivers all those who fall down before him. Therefore, he has delivered such a sinful and fallen person as me. People would fall down in ecstasy before him because the love, out of nowhere, love of God would swell in their hearts. Although I am sinful, Krishnadas says, and I am the most fallen, he has conferred upon me the lotus feet of Sri Rupa Goswami. This is another aspect of the mercy of Lord Nityananda, that he confers his mercy upon us in the form of his representative, his pure devotees. We are known as Rupa Anugas, that means followers of Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami is the head of our a line of succession from Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, who is teaching the process of devotional service, teaching us how we can take shelter of the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda and thus get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya and Radha and Krishna. So Lord Nityananda, after Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, 500 years or more ago, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who had come into this world to spread love of Godhead through Sankirtan, he decided that he would accept the renounced order of life. And he took sannyas. And after he took sannyas, he was going here and there by the direction of Lord Nityananda. Lord Nityananda was teaching Lord Chaitanya in some ways. Lord Chaitanya wanted to go to Vrindavan. And he asked, Nityananda, please take me to Vrindavan. But Lord Nityananda had another plan. To please all the devotees, he was going to divert Lord Chaitanya to Shantipur. So Lord Chaitanya was so maddened in ecstasy, he didn't know where they were going. They were going round in circles. And he said, are we near Vrindavan? Are we there? Lord Nityananda said, yes, just very soon. Just now coming, my Lord. We will be there soon. Just see over there, my Lord. There is the river Yamuna. Lord Chaitanya thought it was the holy river Yamuna which flows through Vrindavan. He ran there, immersing himself in the river he thought was the Yamuna. And of course, he had a shock. Suddenly appearing on that river was Advaita Acharya, who lived in Shantipur. Lord Chaitanya, coming to his senses and seeing Advaita, said, Advaita, how did you know that I was in Vrindavan? My Lord, wherever you are, that is Vrindavan. Advaita, Nityananda, you have cheated me. This is not Vrindavan. This is Shantipur. This is the Ganges. No, Nityananda has not cheated you, my Lord. because the Ganges and Jamuna are flowing simultaneously here. And the western bank where you have taken your bath is indeed the river Jamuna. And Lord Chaitanya wasn't so overwhelmingly convinced by the statements that he was still thinking, this Nityananda is cheating me. Several times Lord Chaitanya would say this to Nityananda, and he kind of punished him by rewarding him eventually. But anyway, there they were. And then Lord Chaitanya stayed there in Shantipur for about 7 days. Now, during that period, it's very interesting. I'm going to take this up now. If we take the Caitanya Caritamrta, this is the Antya Lila, if you have it there, the Caitanya Caritamrta, chapter number 6. The Lord Nityananda, cheated Lord Chaitanya, but at that time, in a village called Shaptagram, which was quite some distance in Shantipur, there was a young boy, and this young boy was the son of a very rich man. His name was Govardhan Majumdar, a Bengali landowner, very rich. And he had one son, and this boy was very saintly. This young boy, Raghunath, had received the association of Haridas when he was a very young child. Haridas had stayed in their village in Shaptagram for quite some time. And during that time, Raghunath had gotten his association and developed, loving affection towards Krishna, to chanting the holy names. He also had the opportunity to associate with Yadunandana Acharya and Bhagavan Acharya, also two devotees of the Lord and devotees of Lord Chaitanya. So having known that, then he heard that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had taken sannyas and had gone to Shantipur. A message had reached them. So at this time, Raghunath begged permission from his father if he could please go. There was a teenager. If I can please go there, I just once want to see the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya. His father was a little bit hesitant because he could see his son becoming more and more maddened with this Hare Krishna movement. And he might leave home, become a madman, and not take up his duty in life. So he's a bit hesitant, but eventually he agreed. He sent servants with him and so on, just to keep an eye on him. And off they went, and they went off to Shantipur. And there, Raghunath Das got the association of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. And he was so fortunate. Lord Chaitanya would place his foot on his head and give him prasadam. He became so overwhelmed. His heart was just completely overflowing with attachment to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But of course, Lord Chaitanya also left Shantipur and went on his journey to Puri, and Raghunath had to go back to his hometown. And there he was completely, he could hardly control his senses. He just wanted to leave, just a young teenager. He wanted to go to Puri and join Lord Chaitanya. And his parents were thinking, what are we going to do with this boy? He's becoming mad. He's going crazy. What are we going to do? They tied him down by marrying him to the most beautiful girl they could find. They thought this would change his mind. They gave him servants. They gave him everything, wealth, you name it. They gave it to him. But nothing could stop him. He was so attached to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu later on, some years later, he was traveling again. Again, he came through Shantipur. This time on his way back from Vrindavan, back to Puri. And this time, Raghunath Das again, somehow or another, managed to go there with many, many guards. Very great difficulty. Parents were what can we do? How can we tie this boy down? He's become a madman. But somehow or another, he promised he would come home. He had a wife, and he was so many responsibilities. So they believed him, and they sent guards with him. He went to Shantipur, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was there. Lord Chaitanya preached to him. We can read a little bit what Lord Chaitanya preached. I'll read that. This is from the Madhya Lila. This is from the 16th chapter, Madhya Lila. For 7 days, Raghunath Das associated with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Shantipur. During those days and nights, he had the following thoughts. Raghunath Das thought, how shall I be able to get free from the hands of the watchmen? How shall I be able to go with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Nilachala? Seeing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was omniscient, he could understand Raghunath Das's mind, since Lord Chaitanya was omniscient. The Lord therefore instructed him with the following reassuring words. Lord Chaitanya said, "Be patient and return home. Don't be a crazy fellow. By and by, you will be able to cross the ocean of material existence. You should not make yourself a show bottle devotee and become a false renunciate. For the time being, enjoy the material world in a befitting way and do not become attached to it." Very important word, Makata Vairagya, is monkey-like renunciation in this material world. False renunciation. The real renunciation is to understand, as Rupa Goswami explains, Dibanda Krishna Sambhani Yukta Vairagya, not Makata Vairagya, Yukta Vairagya Vichite. The real renunciation is to utilize everything in Krishna's service. After all, everything belongs to Krishna. We belong to Krishna, our body, our family, the world around us, everything belongs to Krishna. So he's advising Raghunatha das Goswami to go home, utilize everything in this world, behave like a responsible person, but don't be attached. What to be attached to? You've got to be attached to something, so what's he going to be attached to? Caitanya Mahaprabhu continued, in your heart, you should keep yourself very faithful, but externally you may behave like an ordinary man. Thus Krishna will soon be very pleased and deliver you from the clutches of Maya. And Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj gives an example, just like a wife whose husband is away, she remains very faithful. She's always meditating on her husband. When will he return? She lives her life very simply in his absence, always hankering for that opportunity again. So be like that. You may see me, Lord Chaitanya said, at Nilachal, Jagannath Puri, when I return after visiting Vrindavan. This must have been on his way to Vrindavan, sorry. By that time, you can think of some trick to escape. What kind of means you will have to use at that time will be revealed by Krishna. If one has Krishna's mercy, no one can check him. No one can stop. If someone other gets the mercy of Krishna, nothing can impede that mercy. But how to get that mercy? So then Lord Chaitanya bade him farewell and went on his journey to Vrindavan. And Raghunatha Das went back home. And of course, although he followed Lord Chaitanya's directives, he was still internally maddened with the desire to join Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on his return to Puri. But because he followed the instructions of Lord Chaitanya, he followed the process, he became very well behaved. His parents, you could say, relaxed their guard on him. They would have 5 guards, 4 servants, 2 Brahmins with him all the time, just to keep an eye on him. He was running away from home regularly before. Now he will, but before he would run away, they would catch him, bring him back. They would keep a 24-hour guard on him. He was very pampered, you could say, very rich man. But they were so afraid he was going to leave and join the Hare Krishna movement. It wasn't called that. Now we get the same thing. So anyway, one day in Puri, Jagannath Puri, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was there with his associates after his journey to Vrindavan. They returned to Jagannath Puri on the coast, Orissa. And there, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu called Nityananda. Nityananda Prabhu would be coming and going, of course, but he called him over and he said, Nityananda, I want you now to go to Bengal. Don't come back here. I want you to go there and preach. Only you can save all the people in Bengal. So he sent him on this mission to Bengal. Lord Chaitanya said, through you, I preach this Krishna consciousness movement. So Lord Nityananda took that order of Lord Chaitanya in his heart, and he proceeded towards Bengal. And with him, he has his own followers, countless devotees who were previously Gopalas in Vrindavan, and others in different rasas were also in his team. They headed off because Lord Nityananda is the gateway to love of Godhead in all the various rasas. Doesn't matter what relationship we have with Krishna, he is the gateway. Of course, he manifests himself. He's always present, but he manifests himself through the spiritual masters. He manifests himself through all devotees, to the degree that we're surrendered to him, he will manifest his mercy. And that mercy will shine in the form of spreading Krishna consciousness to others. So he went along with his associates towards Bengal, and eventually they reached Shantipur, and they're in Shantipur, which wasn't, not Shantipur, Panihati, not too far from Saptagram where Raghunatha Das was living. There's a place called Panihati, and Raghunatha Das settled down there in Panihati. And there, with all of his associates, Raghunath heard that he was there. So we'll take it up from there. Raghunath Das considered something in his mind. He was thinking, Nityananda is nearby. Let me try to associate. So then he went the next day to Nityananda. Because Raghunath's parents weren't thinking so much in terms of Nityananda as a big problem. They were thinking Lord Chaitanya. So they weren't so vigilant with him. So he went there and he got Nityananda's mercy. In the village of Panihati, Raghunatha Das obtained an interview with Nityananda Prabhu, who was accompanied by many kirtan performers, servants and others, sitting on a rock under a tree on the bank of the Ganges. Lord Nityananda seemed as effulgent as hundreds and thousands of suns rising at once. Many devotees sat on the ground surrounding him. Seeing the influence of Nityananda Prabhu, Raghunatha Das was astonished. Raghunatha Das offered his obeisances by falling prostrate at a distant place. And the servant of Nityananda Prabhu pointed out, there is Raghunatha Das offering you obeisances. Hearing this, Lord Nityananda said, "Ho, you are a thief." Have you got the verse? Put the verse on the board. Put the verse up. Maybe in a few seconds when here it comes. This is the verse, huh? Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda said to Raghunath, Shuni Prabhu kahe chora dila darasham, aya ajitora karimu dandan. Hearing this, Lord Nityananda Prabhu said, you are a thief. Now you have come to see me. Come here. Today I shall punish you. You're a thief. Why is Lord Nityananda saying you're a thief? What type of thief is this? He's just come to take darshan. Well, in general, we see this as being the fact that his father and his uncle had actually cheated the government of Bengal of a lot of funds, gold coins, because they were big tax collectors and they were keeping more than they should. And the government was on there chasing them to punish them, but they didn't catch them, but they caught Raghunatha Das instead. So he was captured by the government. So in this way, you could say Lord Nityananda was calling him a thief, your family at least are thieves, and you're usurping government wealth. This is very sinful, you shouldn't do this, you're a thief. And besides that, you're staying at a distance, like, hiding away in a distance there. Come close. And we often do that when we're with great people, we keep a little distance, unless, just in case, our heart is exposed, we're holding on, hiding things in our heart. Pure devotees can see in our heart. They can see the anarthas. They can see our ego, false egos, etc. And they get a little close, it's shown up. We feel, they're going to become exposed. We don't want to be exposed. It's like being naked or something. Our consciousness being exposed. So Lord Nityananda could expose everyone's consciousness, but in a way which is blissful. Not in the way in the material world which is painful, but in a blissful way. It's so blissful to have one's false ego cleansed, removed, the false ego becoming the real ego. And when there's no falsity there anymore, there's no more need of anxiety, there's no more fear, there's no more distress, there's no more attachments to this world. The Lord Nityananda can remove the falsity in our hearts. So we've got to come close to Lord Nityananda. So Raghunatha Das, he was keeping it at a distance, You think something belongs to you, come here, I'll have to take it away. And whatever it is, Lord Nityananda can take all these things which we think are mine, or we think are, for my enjoyment, whatever it is, He can take them away by his merciful glance, by his merciful punishment, by whatever form that mercy comes in. His desire is to release us. The whole of the Hare Krishna movement is to release us from this dreamlike state which we're in the material world of thinking, I am the center, I am the enjoyer, I am the doer, I am this, I am that. To release us from this, and not just to release us, but to immerse us in our real constitutional position of being absorbed in ecstatic love of Godhead by singing and dancing, chanting the holy names of Krishna. Just like another song. It's a beautiful song of Bhaktivinoda Thakur called Kabe Habe Bolo Seti Aparada Guchi Shuraname Ruchi Pipa Bala Habe Sanchar. And one of the verses there goes, Kabe Nityananda More Koridoya Charibe Mora Vishaya Ramaya Diamore Nija Charanera Chaya Namarahateti Dibe Adikar Kabe Habibolo Sedi Namar. When will Lord Nityananda be merciful unto me and release me from the illusion of worldliness, giving me the shade of his lotus feet? When will he allow me to enter the marketplace of the holy name? He is the proprietor of that marketplace. It's like if you go to the markets here in France, in our temple here in New Mayapur, the devotees, Lord Nityananda Prabhu, Gandharvaka, and other devotees go from the temple here to the local markets catering, but you have to get the permission of the proprietor of the marketplace, right? You can't just go there. You've got to get his permission and rent a stall and sell your products there, right? You've got to get the permission. So to enter into the real marketplace of the holy name, we have to get Lord Nityananda's mercy. So this is a song begging for that mercy, begging for that mercy. Beautiful song. We won't sing it. It's called Kabe Habi Bolo by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Such a lovely song. And another place, another song by Narottam Das Thakur is called Lala Samayi Prarthana, or better known as Gauranga Bolite Habe. There, Narottam Das sings, Ada Kabe Nitai Chan Karana Hoibe Samsara Vasanamo Kabe Kucha Habe. And Prabhupada comments on this, he says, we are all asking about the mercy of Lord Nityananda. Nityananda is supposed to be the original spiritual master. So we have to approach Gauranga, Lord Chaitanya, through the mercy of Lord Nityananda. What is the symptom of a person who has achieved the causeless mercy of Lord Nityananda? Narottam Das Thakur says that the symptom of one who has actually received the causeless mercy of Lord Nityananda, what is the symptom? Well, that's how we get it. What is the symptom of one who's got it? This is not at all what most of us would think. He has no more material desire. Well, that sounds terrible. One time when one very famous gentleman in England, Lord Zetland, approached one of Prabhupada's godbrothers and said, can you make me also like this, like a Brahmin devotee or whatever? He said, yes, very simple. What do I have to do? He said, no more meat eating, no more intoxicants, no more gambling, no more illicit sex. Oh, that is impossible. Impossible. And for many people, it's a fate worse than death. That's like the essence of their lives. Huh? Intoxications of various kinds, tea, coffee, cigarettes, liquor, drugs, this thing, marijuana, all sorts of things. Yeah, this is like, they're attached to it. I want to speak of different types of eating of foods. We are so attached. So the actual symptom is that one has no more material desire. No more desire. Samsara basana means desire for material enjoyment. And Narottam wonders when it will become very insignificant. You know, of course, as long as we've got material bodies, there will be material desires. We don't have to be. But by taking shelter of Lord Nityananda's mercy, we'll no longer be controlled by those material desires. We have to live in this world. We have to maintain ourselves. We have to fulfill various duties. but only in that spirit of service to Krishna. And if we get Lord Nityananda's mercy, it will be possible not to become, let's say, overwhelmed by it all. So Lord Nityananda said, "You are a thief, come here." But the real meaning of this, "you are a thief," is not a material definition. It means to say that you want to go to Lord Chaitanya. You are thinking you can go directly to Lord Chaitanya, but no. The entrance door to Lord Chaitanya, you have to go through me. I am the proprietor of that marketplace for the holy name. I am the gateway to love of Godhead. You surrender to me. Lord Chaitanya belongs to me. You cannot take him. I can give him to you. So like that. The Lord called him, or Raghunath, but Raghunath Das did not go near the Lord. Then the Lord forcibly caught him and placed his lotus feet upon Raghunath Das's head. Even though Raghunath wouldn't go, we're very hesitant. So Lord Nityananda pulls us, and it may not be directly in the sense that Lord Nityananda is physically or not physical, spiritually present before us, we can see, but through his devotees, he pulls us there. Come on, come forward, come. Render service, engage in chanting, take prasad, whatever it is. Come forward. I'm calling you. Come here. We're hesitant. No, I don't want to do it. Come on. The devotees, they're so merciful. They pull people. They pull us back to Godhead in their mercy. Lord Nityananda was by nature very merciful and funny. Being merciful, he spoke to Raghunath Das as follows. He said, "You are just like a thief, for instead of coming near, you stay away at a distant place." Oh, here we go. Thank you. Oh, it's on the screen now. Look at that. You can see it. "Now that I have captured you, I shall punish you." So the thieves, they come in front of the judge. Lord Nityananda is now the judge. And he's going to punish Raghunath Das. And what's going to come now? Is he going to beat him? What's he going to? Raghunath Das is very rich. Maybe he can bribe himself. Let us see what happens. This is what Lord Nityananda did. This is the punishment. "Make a festival and feed all of my associates yogurt and chip rice." For a man who's like, the richest of the rich, a festival of yogurt, chip rice is a very cheap form of, considered to be quite a low class of chip rice, of rice, excuse me. And yogurt is easy to obtain. What is this? You're punishing him. You're just such a small punishment, such a simple thing for a rich man. It's like if a billionaire comes and you just ask if you can give me a bar of chocolate. He says, "What would you like?" "Give me a bar." "We don't eat chocolate myself." Something wrong. Or just give me a gulab jamun. That's all you ask. Okay. You could have asked for $1 billion. So it's like asking nothing. But this is the point. The Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, mercy coming through Nityananda. Just simple. Just surrender. Simple process. Lord Nityananda is asking us to dance and chant and just take prasadam. Spread Krishna consciousness. So simple. Not so complicated. We're on a farm, just grow food for Krishna. Offer it to Krishna. Honor the food. It's not so complicated. And chant Hare Krishna. Life today is so complicated. But here we see Lord Nityananda asking for a simple thing. Simple thing. Chip rice and yogurt. Hearing this, Raghunath Das was greatly pleased. Raghunath Das immediately sent his own men to the village to purchase all kinds of eatables and bring them back. Raghunath Das brought chip rice, yogurt, milk, sweetmeats, sugar, bananas, and other eatables and placed them all around. We're still reading, Nasika. They brought all kinds of things, and not just chip rice, but all kinds of other preparations came there. We may have our main service given to us, whatever it is, but we do so many other services too. They're all there to embellish. As in the spiritual world, there may be the main natural inclination towards serving Krishna in loving affection, but it involves so many other aspects too of how to, spice that particular relationship. Just like if we're cooking a preparation, it's not just, I like potatoes, but then it's be baked, fried. If you just like potatoes, just give me a raw potato. No, you cook it in such a way that it becomes palatable. Then maybe you fry it, maybe you put some spices or herbs in there, just to make it more and more tasty. Huh? So similarly, in the process of the devotional service is not dry. It's full of all kinds of variety, unlimited varieties. So here, even this simple feast of chip rice and yogurt, other people brought numerous preparations or different types of foodstuffs. As soon as they heard that a festival was going to be held, all kinds of Brahmins and gentlemen began to arrive. Thus, there were innumerable people. Seeing the crowd increasing, Raghunatha Das arranged to get more eatables from other villages. He also brought 200 to 400 large, round earthen pots. He also obtained 5 or 7 especially large earthen pots. And in these pots, a Brahmin began soaking chipped rice for the satisfaction of Lord Nityananda. In one place, chipped rice was soaked in hot milk in each of the large pots. Then half of the rice was mixed with yogurt, sugar, and bananas. The other half was mixed with condensed milk and a special type of banana known as Champa Kalal. Then sugar, clarified butter or ghee, and camphor were added. We did a little bit of this today at New Mayapur, in a little bit of circumstances. A little bit of remembering this ecstatic pastime of Lord Nityananda, Raghunatha Das, and all of his associates on the bank of the Ganga, Panihati. We felt his presence today here at New Mayapur. After Nityananda Prabhu had changed his cloth for a new one and sat on a raised platform, the Brahmin brought before him the 7 huge pots. On that platform, all the most important associates of Nityananda Prabhu, as well as other important men, sat down in a circle around the Lord. Among them were Ramdas, Sundarananda, Gadaradas, Murari, Kamalakar, Sadashiv, and Purandar. Dhananjaya, Jagadish, Parameshwar Das, Mahesh, Gauridas, and Hoda Krishnadas were also there. Similarly, Udarandat Thakur and many other personal associates of the Lord sat on the raised platform with Nityananda Prabhu. No one could count them all. Hearing about the festival, all kinds of learned scholars, Brahmins, and priests went there. Lord Nityananda Prabhu honored them and made them sit on the raised platform with him. It's so important in our movement. Festivals everywhere. Festivals. People come when the festivals are there just so that people can come in unlimited numbers to get this mercy of Nityananda. It's not just the festivals for us. The festivals are meant for everybody. Even animals and birds and beasts would be fed. So the whole purpose of this movement is to shower mercy on everybody. That's what it's for. It's not a closed house. It is a mercy movement supposed to shower over that mercy. Everyone was offered 2 earthen pots. In one pot was put chipped rice with condensed milk, and in the other, chipped rice with yogurt. All the other people sat in groups around the platform. No one could count how many people there were. It just seemed like unlimited numbers were coming. Each and every one of them was supplied 2 earthen pots, one of chipped rice soaked in yogurt, the other of chipped rice soaked in condensed milk. Some of the Brahmins, not having gotten a place on the platform, went to the bank of the Ganges with their 2 earthen pots and soaked their chipped rice there. Others who could not get a place, even on the bank of the Ganges, got down into the water and began eating their 2 kinds of chipped rice. What nectar they must have been experiencing, what bliss. Thus some sat on the platform, some at the base, some on the bank of the Ganges, and they were all supplied 2 pots each by the 20 men and distributed the food. At that time, Raghunath Pandit arrived there. Seeing the situation, he began to laugh in great surprise. He brought many other kinds of food cooked in ghee and offered to the Lord. The prasadam he first placed before Lord Nityananda and then distributed among the devotees. Raghava Pandit said to Lord Nityananda, "For you, sir, I have already offered food to the deity, but you are engaged in a festival here, and so the food is lying there untouched." Lord Nityananda replied, "Let me eat all this food here during the day, and I shall eat at your home at night. I belong to a community of cowherd boys, and therefore I generally have many cowherd associates with me. I am happy when we eat together in a picnic like this by the sandy bank of the river." Lord Nityananda made Raghava Pandit sit down and had 2 pots delivered to him also. There were 2 kinds of chipped rice soaked in them. When chipped rice had been served to everyone, Lord Nityananda Prabhu, in meditation, brought Caitanya Mahaprabhu to the spot. When Caitanya Mahaprabhu arrived, Lord Nityananda Prabhu stood up. They then saw how the others were enjoying the chip rice with yogurt and condensed milk. There is no greater pleasure to see other living entities becoming happy in contact with Krishna. And it's how pleasing it is. Chaturvida, did you sing in the morning? Bhagavat Prasado, Bhagavana Triptam, Hari Bhakta Sangha. The spiritual master is very pleased when he sees his disciples honoring Bhagavat Mahaprasadam, spiritual food offered to Krishna. Very pleasing to Lord Nityananda to see all the devotees happily honoring this feast. Very simple, chip rice and yogurt. From each and every pot, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu arrived, from each and every pot, Lord Nityananda Prabhu took one morsel of chip rice and pushed it into the mouth of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as a joke. Now, don't forget that only a few persons could actually see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He wasn't manifesting himself to everyone, although he was there. He was in apricot unmanifested form. Some devotees could see him, but Nityananda was taking morsels of food and pushing them into the mouth of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But who could see this? Only a few people. It was like a funny thing going on, like pushing food into nowhere. And it was disappearing. In this way, it wasn't like falling on the ground. In this way, Lord Nityananda was walking through all the groups of eaters, and all the Vaishnavas standing there were seeing the fun. No one could understand what Nityananda Prabhu was doing as he walked about. Some, however, who were very fortunate, could see. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was also present. Then Nityananda Prabhu smiled and sat down. On his right side, he kept 4 pots of chip rice, not been made from boiled patty. Lord Nityananda offered Chaitanya Mahaprabhu a place and had him sit down. Then together the 2 brothers began eating chip rice. Seeing Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu eating with him, Lord Nityananda Prabhu became very happy and exhibited varieties of ecstatic love. Lord Nityananda Prabhu ordered, "All of you eat, chanting the holy name of Hari, Hari." Immediately the holy names, Hari, Hari, resounded, filling the entire universe. When we're honoring prasadam, we should also try. Because when we're eating something, a little hard to chant Hare Krishna when we're eating. Sometimes it makes a bit of a mess. As much as possible, even while chanting, devotees would chant, or at least in their minds, they would chant Krishna's names. And remember what we're doing, honoring Krishna prasadam. The atmosphere would be very beautiful. We used to read during prasadam, as devotees would honor prasadam. Somebody would read from the Krishna book or from the Prabhupada Lila or some book which was very nice to hear during prasadam. We know it's a time to meet and talk sometimes and socialize and what have you. But the most beneficial thing is to actually remember Krishna at that time, to be conscious of Krishna. When all the Vaishnavas were chanting the holy names and eating, they remembered how Krishna and Balaram ate with their companions, the cowherd boys, on the banks of the river Yamuna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda Prabhu are extremely merciful and liberal. It was Raghunatha Das's good fortune they accepted all of these dealings. How much mercy when you feed the devotees, when one pleases the devotees. Please everybody spiritually, but especially when we please the devotees and they're happy. How good for that's the greatest good fortune, most fortunate. For sure, one gets the mercy of Krishna. Who can understand the influence and mercy of Lord Nityananda? He is so powerful that he induced Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to come eat chip rice on the bank of the Ganges. So if we get the mercy of Lord Nityananda, Lord Chaitanya is forced to shower his mercy. Just with Jagai and Madai, because Lord Nityananda forgave Madai, Lord Chaitanya had no choice but to accept him as his own, one of his close associates, or as a great devotee, forgiving him of all of his past sinful activities. All the confidential devotees who were cowherd boys, headed by Sri Ramdas, were absorbed in ecstatic love. They thought the bank of the Ganges to be the bank of the Yamuna. When the shopkeepers in many other villages heard about the festival, they arrived there to sell chip rice, yogurt, sweetmeats, and bananas. So they all came, usual thing, taking advantage of a big crowd. They all came there to sell their various items. Natural. But what happened then? As they came bringing all kinds of food, Raghunatha Das purchased everything. He gave them the price for their goods and later fed them the very same food. A very good host. Anyone who came to see how these funny things were going on was also fed chip rice, yogurt, and bananas. After Lord Nityananda Prabhu finished eating, he washed his hands and mouth and gave Raghunatha Das food remaining in the 4 pots. There was food remaining in the 3 other big pots of Lord Nityananda, and a Brahmin distributed it all to the devotees, giving a morsel to each. Then the Brahmin bought a flower garland, placed the garland on Nityananda Prabhu's neck, and smeared sandalwood pulp all over his body. When a servant brought betel nuts and offered them to Nityananda, the Lord smiled and chewed them. With his own hands, Lord Nityananda Prabhu distributed to all the devotees whatever flower garland, sandalwood pulp, and betel nuts remained. After receiving the remnants of food left by Lord Nityananda Prabhu, Raghunatha Das, who was greatly happy, ate some and distributed the rest among his own associates. Thus, I have described the pastimes of Lord Nityananda Prabhu in relation to the celebrated festival of chip rice and yogurt. So Nityananda Prabhu has now got the mercy of Nityananda. Raghunatha Das has now got the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu. So his path to Lord Chaitanya now is opening. It's open. He can now completely take shelter of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but it's not quite finished yet. Nityananda Prabhu rested for the day, and when the day ended, he went to the temple of Raghava Pandit. As you may remember earlier on, we heard that Raghava Pandit had come there requesting the Lord to please come to his house because he prepared a feast. Now, Raghava Pandit is one of the most famous devotees in Caitanya Lila for preparing, he and his wife, incredible preparations to offer to the Lord. So an expert cook, and Lord Chaitanya said, he would always come into the house of Raghava Pandit whenever he's cooking it. Lord Chaitanya would always come to honor prasadam. Lord Nityananda Prabhu first influenced all the devotees to dance. And finally, he himself began dancing, thus inundating the entire world in ecstatic love. It's said by the dancing of Lord Nityananda. He immerses everyone and makes it easy for everyone to relish or to enter into the 4 rasas or relationships with Krishna, loving relationships. By the dancing of Nityananda, it evokes that in the heart. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was observing the dancing of Lord Nityananda. Nityananda could see this, but the others could not. The dancing of Lord Nityananda Prabhu, like the dancing of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, cannot be compared to anything within these 3 worlds. No one can properly describe the sweetness of Lord Nityananda's dancing. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally comes to see it. So it's another thing, wherever Lord Nityananda dances, Lord Chaitanya is there. After the dancing and after Lord Nityananda had rested, Raghava Pandit submitted his request that the Lord take supper. Lord Nityananda Prabhu sat down for supper with his personal associates and made a sitting place on his right side for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. If you don't know what supper is, it's a kind of an English term. Usually nowadays we call it dinner, in the evening, taking my dinner. But it used to be called supper. And why was it called supper? Because in the pastimes of the Lord, when he was in Vrindavan, the famous pastime of Govardhan Lila, numerous preparations were brought to offer to Giriraj, and one of those preparations was soup, S-U-P, soup, Sanskrit word, and that preparation is liquid vegetables. That's what it means. So from there, the word supper came, because usually you have soup in the evenings, bread and soup. That was what supper was usually. So of course nowadays it's become dinner, and it's usually a big meal. But then it was soup. But in this case, supper also was a big meal. Prabhupada is using the English word supper for an evening meal. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and sat down at his place. Seeing this, Raghava Pandit felt increasing happiness. Raghava Pandit brought the prasad before the 2 brothers and thereafter distributed prasadam to all the other Vaishnavas. There were varieties of cake, sweet rice, fine cooked rice that surpassed the taste of nectar. There were also varieties of vegetables. The food prepared and offered to the deity by Raghava Pandit was like the essence of nectar. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came there again and again to eat such prasadam. When Raghava Pandit offered the food to the deity after cooking, he would make a separate offering for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Every day, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would eat at the house of Raghava Pandit. Sometimes he would give Raghava Pandit the opportunity to see him. Raghava Pandit would bring and distribute prasadam to the two brothers, feeding them with great attention. They ate everything, and therefore there were no remnants left. He brought so many presentations that no one could know them perfectly. It was a fact that the Supreme Mother Radharani personally cooked in the house of Raghava Pandit. Srimati Radharani received from Devasa Muni the benediction that whatever she cooked would be sweeter than nectar. That is a special feature of her cooking. Aromatic and pleasing to see. The food was the essence of all sweetness. Thus the two brothers, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda Prabhu, ate it with great satisfaction. All the devotees present requested Raghunatha Das to sit down and take prasadam, but Raghunath Pandit told them he will take prasadam later. All the devotees took prasad, filling themselves to the brim. Thereafter, chanting the holy name of Hari, they stood up and washed their hands and mouths. After eating, the two brothers washed their hands and mouths. Then Raghava Pandit brought flower garlands and sandalwood pulp and decorated them. Raghava Pandit offered them betel nuts and worshipped their lotus feet. He also distributed the betel nuts, flower garlands, and sandalwood pulp to the devotees. Raghava Pandit, being very merciful toward Raghunath Das, offered him the dishes with the remnants of food left by the two brothers. To get that remnants of the food of the Lord is the most valuable, asset, or the most valuable achievement practically. We have this opportunity in one sense every day. Of course, the question of consciousness may be there. But the principle, every day we get this opportunity to receive Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda's remnants. So fortunate. He said, Raghava Pandit said, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has eaten this food. If you take these remnants, you will be released from the bondage of your family life. This is a great benediction given by Raghava Pandit. So to serve the devotees of Lord Nityananda, to follow their instructions, to take the remnants of food of Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya, one will become free. That doesn't again mean one leaves one's family. It means we become free from the entanglement there is, freed from the effect of duality in this material world, caused by happiness, of distress, caused by loss and gain, caused by the interaction with other material world and other living entities around us due to our identity with it. All this is relieved by the mercy of Lord Nityananda. And here is a simple process when we genuinely honor the remnants of Caitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. The Supreme Personality of Godhead always resides either in the heart or in the home of a devotee. This fact is sometimes hidden, sometimes manifest. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead is fully independent. 2 verses 4. In the morning, after taking his bath in the Ganges, Nityananda Prabhu sat down with his associates beneath the same tree under which he had previously sat. Raghunath Das went there and worshipped Lord Nityananda's lotus feet. Through Raghava Pandit, he submitted his desire. He said, I am the lowest of men, the most sinful, fallen and condemned. Nevertheless, I desire to attain the shelter of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Like a dwarf who wants to catch the moon, I have tried my best many times, but I have never been successful. Every time I tried to go away and give up my home relationships, my father and mother unfortunately kept me bound. We don't blame our mother and father, it's our own affection, our own attachments in this material world. our own attachments to the material nature, separate from Krishna. We become bound up in this world in various ways. No one can attain the shelter of Caitanya Mahaprabhu without your mercy. But if you are merciful, even the lowest of men can attain shelter at his lotus feet. Although I am unfit and greatly afraid to submit this plea, I nevertheless request you, sir, to be especially merciful toward me by granting me shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Placing your feet on my head, give me the benediction that I may achieve the shelter of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu without difficulty. I pray for this benediction. After hearing this appeal by Raghunatha Das, Lord Nityananda Prabhu smiled and told all the devotees, Raghunatha Das's standard of material happiness is equal to that of Indra, king of heaven. Because of the mercy bestowed upon him by Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, Raghunatha Das, although situated in such material happiness, does not like it at all. Incredible. The mercy of Chaitanya, that we lose attachment and attraction to all the things that most people in this world are hankering after. Although situated, therefore let every one of you be merciful toward him and give him the benediction that he may very soon attain shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. So all the devotees blessed right now. One who experiences the fragrance of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna does not even value the standard of happiness available in Brahmaloka, the topmost planet, what to speak of heavenly happiness. Then Lord Nityananda Prabhu called Raghunatha Das near him, placed his lotus feet upon Raghunatha Das's head, and began to speak. My dear Raghunatha Das, he said, since you arranged the feast on the bank of the Ganges, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu came here just to show you his mercy. By his causeless mercy, he ate the chipped rice and milk. Then, after seeing the dancing of the devotees at night, he took his supper. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Gaura Hari, came here personally to deliver you. Now rest assured that all the impediments meant for your bondage are gone. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will accept you and place you under the charge of his secretary, Swarup Damodar. You will thus become one of the most confidential internal servants and will attain the shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Being assured of all this, return to your own home. Very soon, without impediments, you will attain the shelter of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Nityananda had Raghunatha Das blessed by all the devotees, and Raghunatha Das offered his respects to their lotus feet. After taking leave of Lord Nityananda Prabhu and then all the other Vaishnavas, Sri Raghunatha Das consulted secretly with Raghava Pandit. Hare Krishna. Back to screen. Hare Krishna. So after that amazing interaction between Lord Nityananda and Raghava Pandit and Raghunatha Das and all the other devotees, the next day Raghava Pandit in the house of Raghava Pandit, Raghunath Das submitted this request that you please, now I want you to offer charity. He gave large amounts of wealth for the service of Nityananda and all the devotees. This is a token of when you get mercy, we're all supposed to reciprocate in whatever way we can. So that was at his disposal. And then sure enough, sometime after that, not so long after that, by the arrangement of Lord Nityananda, Raghunath Das was able to leave home and join Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Puri and spend the rest of his manifested presence serving Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lotus feet, spending his time there in Puri and then later on in Vrindavan, absorbed in pure love of Godhead. So all this is possible for every living entity. This pastime is very special pastime of receiving the mercy of Lord Nityananda. Let us all pray. We can also, following in the footsteps of Raghunatha das Goswami, we can also receive this mercy of Lord Nityananda and become free of all material desires. and become absorbed. Nothing, no other desire than to take shelter or attain the shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lotus feet. Not taking shelter. This is the will of Krishna also. It says, giving up all other shelters, take full shelter of me. And that is possible by the mercy of receiving the mercy of the spiritual master, which means the instructions of the spiritual master. Raghunatha Das was given the instruction to prepare a feast and to feed all the Vaishnavas. Nityananda gave him personal instructions. Srila Prabhupada has given us personal instructions of how we can also get that mercy to become free of bondage in this world and to become absorbed or to attain the shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lotus feet. Very simple, because it's bestowed upon us. Lord Chaitanya comes personally there when somebody surrenders to the lotus feet of his pure devotee, or the representative of Nityananda Prabhu. And Lord Chaitanya also, maybe we don't see, but he's personally there to shower his mercy upon that devotee who takes full shelter at the feet of Nityananda. Nityananda Ram Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. So, any questions? Somebody's in the screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, this was before.
Okay.
You have a question?
Yeah.
She has a question.
But I'll take these ones here. You can ask. That can be asked after.
Oh, yes, yes, makes
You can
sense.
ask with us after.
Okay.
What should be the mood? Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhaktavinda Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhaktavinda. We pray like this to Lord Nityananda. We pray Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare. Lord Nityananda is also there. He's Ram, Nityananda Ram. He's also present in the Maha Mantra. We're praying to him in this way. As Raghunatha Das got the mercy because Lord Nityananda and his associates were there, he prayed at all of their lotus feet. Just like King Prataparuda, different situation, different mood. Prataparuda was in a different rasa. He prayed to the Lord, but he also took shelter of all the lotus feet of the devotees, because without their mercy, we can't get Lord Nityananda's mercy. Preaching, we pray to Lord Nityananda to be merciful to us so that we can be his instrument to approach all the Jagais and Madhais and spread Krishna consciousness. Yes, but generally we pray to both. As Raghunatha das Goswami was praying to have the opportunity for the shelter of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he got it through Nityananda. So we want both. We want Lord Nityananda's mercy to attain the shelter of Chaitanya, so we chant Lord Nitai. Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga. We appeal to that. In the heart of hearts, we know that without the mercy of Nityananda, he knows the heart of the devotee. But we know without his mercy, we cannot make progress on the path of genuine spiritual life. We can make some progress here and there, but to attain the highest perfection in spiritual life, love of Godhead, Radharani herself. As Lord Nityananda is also there in the Madhurya Ras. He's the gateway to Madhurya Ras. He's there in the form of an Anga Manjari to introduce the devotees to their particular service in the spiritual world, or the servant whom they serve under. This is confirmed by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He said, when the Lord, by the mercy of Lord Nityananda, his anuraga, his eternal bhava, his eternal emotions were aroused, and when he entered the spiritual realm, that there Ananga Manjari introduced him to Rupa Manjari, who introduced him then in the party of Lalita Devi. So by the mercy of Nityananda, even there, she hands one over in the spiritual realm also, spiritual form, his spiritual form. And in the spiritual world, says by the mercy of Nityananda. So we can pray. What are we praying for? We're praying for what does Lord Nityananda want? He wants us to bring pleasure to Radha and Krishna. He wants us to bring pleasure to Lord Chaitanya. While we're praying, he wants us to be absorbed in Sankirtan. So we can pray to Lord Nityananda, yes, that I may become absorbed in Sankirtan, so that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will be pleased. We're not just doing it for our own pleasure. It's for the pleasure of our Guru, the pleasure ultimately of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Lord Chaitanya is represented in the form of the Guru. He's the Adi Guru, original Guru. So we pray to our Guru to please also engage me. Prabhupada said our only prayer should be, how can I serve you? How can I serve you? That should be our prayer. How can I serve you? So approaching our spiritual master in that mood is also approaching Lord Nityananda. They represent the dust at the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda. The pure devotees of the Lord who are at his lotus feet, sitting around that raised platform on the bank of the Ganga, are many devotees. They're all like the distributors of that mercy in the form of spiritual masters, whom we approach, take shelter of. And how does that connection come? They give us instruction, just like Lord Nityananda directly gave instruction to Raghunatha Das. So the spiritual master gives us instruction, it may be directly or generally, but he gives us instruction how we can also attain that freedom from this world. So we pray to our spiritual master. We can also, if the deities are there, the pictures are there of Lord Nityananda, we can also pray for their mercy. We become a more faithful servant of our spiritual master. Assisting him in his mission to spread Krishna consciousness in the way Lord Nityananda has given us. Yes, so we can pray. At the same time, it's not that we spend all our day praying. We have to take, the mercy is already there. Lord Nityananda's mercy is here. Full dosage is there. We just have to take it. Sankirtan is we could say the mercy of Lord Nityananda is already fully present. We just have to take hold of it. Hare Krishna.
Can you please tell some more words?
That will take a long time. I'll leave that and see later. Maybe next session. Let's see who's it from. Well, there's unlimited. Raghunatha Das particularly, of course. Raghunath Pandit, we're not so much is written, at least not in Caitanya Caritamrta. There is not so much, but about Raghunatha Das Goswami, yes. Much is written about his childhood, and especially about his pastimes in Puri and Vrindavan. We could read it in Caitanya Caritamrta, but that would be a long pastime. How is the emblem of renunciation. Lord Chaitanya requested various devotees for various services. In Raghunatha Das's case, it was on the order of the Lord Chaitanya, desire of Lord Chaitanya. He lived an extraordinarily renounced life. The famous instructions given by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Raghunatha Das Goswami to always fix the worship of Radha and Krishna always in his heart, to keep them always in his heart, constantly. Everything he did focused with Radha Krishna in our hearts, and to eat very simply, to dress very simply, and don't talk nonsense. And very nicely explained by Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj that eating too much, don't eat too much, don't eat opulently. He gave him this instruction. Of course, he ate next to nothing in due course of time. But he said, no eating of opulent food, because but still, that's not considered the worst, because that only affects oneself, that's what he said. And if you dress opulently, that affects people around you, because then they start to, maybe think of imitating. You've all seen it. I've seen it in Aristotle too. Certain leaders, they dress in very fancy, and everyone around them starts dressing fancy, and so on. It affects people around you. But to talk nonsense, to talk of Ramya unnecessary rubbish talk, criticism, whatever, affects every single body. Everyone is affected. So that's the most worst of the three. He gave various instructions like that in Puri. And Raghunatha Das was living there very, very simply, to the point where he was only going to the place near the Jagannath Puri temple, where the priests, after all the prasadam is distributed, sometimes there's some prasad which is almost inedible left over at the end of the day. They throw it out for the cows and the dogs and the pigs and anyone else who wants to come along there. Raghunatha Das was going there, picking out rice, washing it, and that was what he was living on. And one day Lord Chaitanya was asking, where is Raghunath? Because when Raghunath first went to Puri, his parents eventually surrendered to it. They knew they couldn't get him back. They were sending wealth all the time to Raghunath, servants with money and this and that. And Raghunath was using it to serve all the devotees by arranging feasts to serve all the devotees. Then he stopped after a short while. And eventually, after going through various other stages, you could say, he eventually ended up in the place where the animals were going to take the leftover throwouts. and he was just taking prasadam there, washing the rice. One day Lord Chaitanya was asking, they told him, some of the doors told him where he was. Lord Chaitanya went there, Raghunatha das, what are you doing here? Oh, my Lord, no. He was embarrassed. What are you doing? You're having a feast here and you're not inviting me? He was just taking the, throwing out food. Lord Chaitanya grabbed some of that prasadam. I have never tasted such nectar ever. Consciousness, state of consciousness. We can't imitate this, and we shouldn't imitate it either. We're not on that level. That's called Markata Vairagya, false renunciation. For Raghunatha Das, it wasn't. This was his service to the Lord, manifestation, because he was totally attached in his heart of hearts to the service. He was only eating just a little bit to maintain body together, body and soul together. He had no interest. Only interest was loving service to Radha and Krishna or to Lord Chaitanya. Hare Krishna, Sarya. Genuinely honor prasadam. Sometimes we find now, even sometimes we've forgotten, the prayer which we've been given in our movement is Sharirada Vidyajal Jadendriyata Hekam. Sometimes we say it, sometimes we don't. One person said it and we're all talking. We're already halfway through a meal, we forgot to say it. Or we say it and we're totally unconscious of what we're saying. Consciousness in all of our prayers, it's not just prasadam. We bow down in the temple hall, whatever it is, I don't know what we say. Whatever it is, and sometimes it's very nicely said, but oftentimes we're not very conscious. Even in our prayers, we may not be really conscious. Consciousness also includes sincerity or meaning of intent. We really mean it. So we try to meditate on the meaning of the prayers which we say. Meditate on what we're doing. Be conscious of what we're doing, not just eating. And say, oh, Prabhu, give me more curd. That's okay, we can say that, but we should be conscious of what we're doing. Very conscious. This is just a tiny speck of Mahaprasadam. It's we take it for granted sometimes, but it's just such a great fortune, a great gift to receive a speck of Mahaprasadam. But just to be a little conscious, not to waste Mahaprasadam. All the prasadam is Mahaprasadam in a way. Not that, oh, that's Maha, this is not. We call it like that, but all prasadam is offered to Krishna. That's what it means. Krishna's mercy, offered to Krishna. So we should not waste any prasadam, at least that which we have on our plate. We shouldn't waste it. That's another meaning of honoring, genuinely honoring prasadam, not we think, I like this thing, that thing. We should take and honor, respect, at least eat it, what we have on our plate. Another form of honoring prasadam, we don't take anything unless it's offered to Krishna. So not that we just eat anything and everything. Someone was telling me today, there's one vegan restaurant somewhere, and they serve, what's it called?
Fake meat.
Fake meat. Fake fish, this thing, that thing. And they, and some devotees are going there, eating it. Well, that means we're still attached to the material wood. It's food which is not offered to Krishna. It's not cooked for Krishna. And we're attached to the taste. That means our bondage in the material is still there. We haven't received the mercy of Nityananda. Although it's there, we haven't taken it. We have to take that mercy. Yeah, okay, take some time. Huh? You may, take a little bit and then let it go and go somewhere. But the mercy is we have to hold on to that mercy. Don't let go. Hold on to that mercy. It's a gradual process. Even if we do slip away a little bit, nonetheless, that mercy, whatever mercy we've got, will never be lost. So when we're with devotees, we're more conscious, just like we heard the pastime just now, the devotees relishing prasadam and chanting Hare Hare. It's described. We should chant the holy names as during our chanting also. Or at least hear about Krishna. Somehow or another, try to be conscious. This is the essence. Prabhupada said, first be conscious and then be Krishna conscious. Conscious of what we're doing. No, whether it's prasadam or whether it's cleaning or whether it's everything, being conscious of what we're doing. Even in the material world, being conscious to keep the world clean. Being conscious of other living entities and how our behavior interacts with them. Become conscious. Become conscious of how we dress in a way that doesn't disturb other people's minds, etc. Being conscious. Of course, the whole word is conscious in their own way, but it is a disturbing place because people's consciousness is self-centered. But devotee, when it says conscious, then we have to become conscious in relation with Krishna also, not just conscious. Where are we? What are the symptoms of material detachment? Or as fallen souls attempting to purify ourselves, how do we know that we are making progress in the process of detaching materially and attaching to Krishna? We become more and more enthusiastic to associate with devotees, to chant the holy names, to serve. We don't want to stop for a moment. You know, even if some material thoughts come in, we're you know, oh no, or when some material temptation comes along, it's like, it's a test. You immediately take shelter of Krishna when those tests come along, not that we indulge in it and then hide away or something behind closed doors, but the one doesn't want to go there. It may be there. The material desires may come along and the material temptations may be there in our lives. We may sometimes fall victim, but we immediately want to come back to Krishna consciousness. And the heart of a devotee is feeling of repentance when these things come, genuine repentance. Srimad Bhagavatam has many, some incidences we can see there of this demonstrated. Parikshit Maharaj, for instance, is one example of that when he insulted the Brahmin Kaushik Muni in a cave there, and then it became very feeling of great repentance, and Indra becomes repentant also, and when he behaves in unbecoming ways, falls down from this sort of Sakama Bhakti platform, etc. The feeling of repentance is there. Primarily, it's our attraction for doing more and more service. Another symptom is that, when we're corrected, rightly or wrongly, we don't defend ourselves. We're not becoming all, duplicitous and this and that. We're welcoming it. We're welcoming it. There's nothing there. It's just, there's nothing like boom, like you coming and hit back, like this, like a wall. There's nothing there. When it's open to purification, one sees Krishna's hand working through others to help release us from this material world. Various symptoms are there at different stages. And then there's some practical things. One's not so interested in eating, sleeping, mating, defending, and all these things. Maybe there, but only minimal, whatever we need. Our relations with devotees, compassion. So it depends what level we're on. You'll see different symptoms evolving. More attraction for preaching, more attraction for chanting, and so on, and less interest in watching mundane stuff, talking mundane stuff, associating with mundane things, etc. More. Where are we now? We hear of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda manifesting in person during their earthly pastimes. Do they also appear in person these days when there's a festival? Prabhupada said that. In London, as you were coming from England, or he does from York, in Soho Street in London, it was a glory place. There are two Vyasasans, I guess they're still there, one each side of the altar. And way back in maybe, I don't know what year, 71, I'm not sure what year it was, earlier before I joined. So it was there when I came, so maybe it's 71 or 70, I don't know. Srila Prabhupada said we should put these two Vyasasans in there. There's a difference of opinion. When Narada Muni and Lord Brahmahan visit the temple during Kirtan, we should have Vyasasan there for them. So they would come into the Kirtans when they want, feeling Kiva Jayo Jaya Gora Chandra Arati Kasova song. Lord Brahma is there and everything during the arti. So they're there. We may not see them. And Lord Chaitanya is also there. He's non-different than the holy name. He's not Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya are non-different. They are there. It's just if we follow the system or the process given by Lord Nityananda for the spiritual masters, and gradually our hearts can become purified to visual, to actually be able to experience their presence. Of course, it's up to them. It's not forced. They may reveal themselves accordingly. As they surrender to me, I reveal myself accordingly in different ways. So a matter of surrender, as we're actually surrendering completely to the process of Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, hearing and chanting about Krishna, as our faith becomes pure, unflinching faith in the holy name, the Lord will reciprocate, everything can become revealed. And wherever we go, we'll be, maybe in the beginning, feeling is more the point of one feels the mercy of Lord Nityananda. And it's not a question of trying to visualize them. Ah, there they are. And I'm seeing Lord Nityananda in that thorn bush. There he is. As we've been cutting down thorn bushes for on and off over the last few months. But he is there, but it's not that we have to kind of like make a kind of speculated conjuring form of something. He manifests as spontaneous. But he appears in the form of feeling his mercy in the heart. And even doing things, we're so I can't say how much. It's funny. I mean, there's a lot of false ego on my part, but a lot of pleasure there. Just going out into the fields, just cleaning the fields of all the weeds and thorns, so we can start growing grass or plants or something. There's acres of it here in my place. One is it really is ecstasy, absolute ecstasy. It's just, I mean, it's not absolute ecstasy, but it's relatively speaking more ecstatic than there's so many things that we think we're going to get ecstasy from. It's just so pleasing to the heart. Because Lord Nityananda is reciprocating. We're trying to do something pleasure of Lord Nityananda and his associates, to clean his garden, to clean his temple, or to go out and somehow or another to share with the Jagais and Madhais on the streets the mercy of Lord Nityananda. Please take it, please take it. That's why we chant and dance in the street. That's why we wear dhotis and tilaks, so that people can remember Krishna. They immediately think, oh, Hare Krishna, when they see a dhoti, a tilak, a sari, or something like that. It reminds people of Krishna, that we're not doing anything, we're just dressed in such a way. But this is, in one sense, okay, little false ego, what will people think of me? But it's a great, it's a little sacrifice, a little surrender. And then people think of Krishna. And we're representing Lord Nityananda. It's so ecstatic. What to speak of when we dance and chant. We're not so advanced. We may be a little bit of this, a little bit of that mixed in there. But still, Lord Nityananda is so pleased. He's definitely present there when we go out on Sankirtan. He's very, very happy. He's so happy to see. Lord Nityananda was particularly preaching to the dacoits and the rogues and thieves, and I can read you something, I think. Listen to this. Is it? No, it's on my computer. I don't know. Anyway, how after Lord Nityananda one time delivered all these thieves, they were notorious rogues, and he really taught them a good lesson. That's a long story. We don't have time for that tonight. But after they came to their senses, and the leader of these dacoits just being completely devastated by the mercy of Nityananda. They were just shattered, smashed by hailstones, and caught up in thorn bushes, the good meditations. And they were caught up in thorn bushes with leeches sucking at them, and the thunder and lightning crashing and hailstones smashing on them, and all kinds of creatures eating away at them, stuck in the thorn bushes. They were trying to rob them. And then they all surrendered to Lord Nityananda. And the leader came to Lord Nityananda, and he was just so repentant. He realized this Avaduta must be the Supreme Lord. And he just completely surrendered. Only you can have mercy. Begging him for mercy. Eventually, the mature nature is supposed to help in this way, to help us to get free of this attachments in this world, to help us to take shelter. Any more? That's it. Well, thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. We're finished with 5 minutes kirtan. Who's there? Oh, there's still a lot of those there. Wonderful. We'll have a little kirtan, okay? Lord Nityananda is now going to shower his mercy on us all, if he wants. Try to hear the holy name. Put aside all of our important thoughts, all the things that are going on around us. Prabhupada said all of our questions, all of our problems, all of our doubts can be removed by pure chanting of the holy name. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Bolo, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, everybody. Let me put the whole screen on.
Hare Krishna Gurudev.
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Ki jai. Hari Bol. Radharani is writing. Can they read that or not?
No, it's fine.
Oh, thank you very much for something. It's very nice, especially, okay, just likes to hear about Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya. Radharani loves to hear about Lord Nityananda and Radharani. So if she loves to hear about them, we should also love to hear about them. Thank you for the mercy. Nityananda's mercy, ki jai. Hare Krishna, Hari Bol, everybody.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, all glories to Prabhupada. Hari
Hare
Bol.
Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
What's